The devil, as we know, that accuser of the brethren, that adversary, he has a lot of different tactics that he uses to deceive mankind. He causes trouble in the church, so churches can just split up. I went through one of the last church I went to. There was division in the church. We went from 600 people to about 50. Everybody just went. It was awful. He causes that. He causes deception. So he makes people disbelieve the word of God. And then, as we know, the Bible says, without faith, it's impossible to please God. And the devil doesn't want us to please God. So when we are reading the Bible or we hear the word, we have doubts in our minds, thinking, can this be true? So once we have that doubt, because we don't have faith, then we don't please God. And he's not happy with us. And these are all tactics of the devil. I was watching a film on YouTube. There was this small church, and there was an evangelist in the church who was always praying. He was praying for the church and praying for the pastor. Always that was just his prayers for the church, for the pastor, for the church, for the pastor. The devil had infiltrated that church and had got into almost everyone else except that evangelist and the pastor's wife. So they made sure that they turned the pastor against that evangelist. They accused him falsely. And instead of the pastor to pray, he didn't. He believed and he suspended the evangelist, removed him from everything in the church. So those people were happy that, now that he's gone, now they can get the pastor and they can make the church fall because he was the one blocking their prayers. But surprisingly, even though he was on suspension at home, he was still praying for the church and still praying for the pastor. He didn't stop. Some church members went to him at home. They were all part of those that the devil were using and said, oh man of God, what the pastor did was wrong. What he did to you was wrong. Form your own church and we will all come and join you. And he said the Lord has not told him to form a church. His job is to pray for the church and the pastor. They said, well, you're still praying for him, even how he treated you. He said he will never stop. So he kept on and kept on and kept on until in the end, as all these things go, the truth came out. And the people who were doing all these things, they had to confess to the pastor that they wanted to destroy the church. But that man was blocking the prayers. So he had to go and beg the man and bring him back. So we see that the devil, he still uses that tactic even now. And today we're going to look at the book of Genesis and we'll see that he's been using it from the beginning. And he's still using it till now. He will never stop until his time on the judgment day. So we do need to be careful. And when there's someone like that in the church whispering to us, trying to cause confusion, it's not that person, it's the devil that has entered into them. So we should not fight the wrong battle and think it's that brother, it's that sister. They've availed themselves to be used. If we remember when Peter said, Jesus, you're not going to go through all of that. Jesus did not say, get thee behind me, Peter. He said, get thee behind me, Satan. Because Jesus could see that the devil had entered into him. So it wasn't Peter, it was the devil. He rebuked the devil. I remember also when Jesus said, Simon Peter, the devil has desired to have you and sift you like wheat, but I have prayed for you. And when you are converted, strengthen your brethren. So the devil can use anyone, but we have to be careful so we don't avail ourselves and leave ourselves open to be used by the devil. Amen. So today we're looking at the book of Genesis. Because it's quite large, it's 50 chapters, I split it into 3. So the first part we'll do today, which is chapters 1 to 11, and that will cover the creation, the fall, Noah and the flood. And next time we'll look at 12 to 36, which will cover from Abraham up to Esau. And then the final bit will be Jacob, the 12 sons of Jacob, Joseph, and his life and his death. So the book of Genesis, that's the book of the beginning, and it's caused the most controversy in the earth. It's still going on. The devil is trying to attack the book of Genesis and the book of Revelations. once you don't believe these two books, you just take the whole Bible as a story, they take it as fiction. So he tries to make people not to believe the book of Genesis. So people, even theologians, saying that the book of Genesis is not true, it's a myth, it's just a story, it did not happen that way. The creation was created with a big bang. The evolution, we came from apes. Apes are our ancestors. God did not create man. Once you believe that, then it's easy to disregard the rest of the Bible. So, but as Christians, we believe that it is true. I definitely believe that the Bible account is true. So, even Jesus himself, he believed that Genesis, the events in Genesis happened. The handouts I've given you, I put some scripture in there so that we won't waste time opening our Bibles, going back and forth. So some of the evidence that Jesus and the disciples believed in the Genesis account, Luke 17, 26 to 29, you'll see in your handouts, just as this was Jesus speaking, just as it was in the days of Noah, so also will it be in the days of the Son of Man. People were eating, drinking, marrying, and being given in marriage up to the day Noah entered the ark. Then the flood came and destroyed them all. Jesus mentioned the flood, he mentioned Noah. It was the same in the days of Lot. Lot was also mentioned in the book of Genesis. People were eating and drinking, buying and selling, planting and building. But the day Lot left Sodom, fire and sulfur rained down from heaven and destroyed them all. So Sodom and Gomorrah was mentioned in Genesis. Jesus mentions about Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed. One of the disciples, Peter, 1 Peter 3:20, to those who were disobedient long ago, when God waited patiently in the days of Noah, while the ark was being built. In it, only a few people, 8 in all, were saved through water. The disciples referenced Genesis. They talked about the flood. Luke 17:27 also mentions the flood. So here you can see that if Jesus can mention about the flood, about Lot, it is an accurate fact. It's not fiction. It's not a myth. So we're going to see about God, the creator of heaven and earth. So Isaiah 40, 25, 26 says, to whom will you compare me? Or who is my equal, says the Holy One. Lift up your eyes and look to the heavens, who created all these. He who brings out the starry hosts one by one, and calls forth each of them by name. Because of his great power and mighty strength, not one of them is missing. This is the God that created heaven and earth. And he knows the names of each star in heaven. And remember when he told Abraham, look up to the heavens, if you can count the number of stars. We have innumerable stars, yet God knows the name of each one of these stars. This is the God we are serving. This is Yahweh. The God who knows your name, who knows my name. The God who cares for us, the creator of the universe. Isaiah 45:18. For this is what the Lord says. He who created the heavens, he is God. He who fashioned and made the earth, he founded it. He did not create it to be empty, but formed it to be inhabited. He says, I am the Lord, and there is no other. There is no God who created heaven and earth, but Yahweh himself. I am the Lord, and there is no other. Psalm 96:5. For all the gods of the nations are idols, but the Lord made the heavens. The Lord God of heaven and earth. He is the one we are all gathered here today for. He made heaven. He made the whole creation. This is the God whom we shall see in the book of Genesis, the book of the beginning. So we go to Genesis 1. Genesis 1:1 says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. There was this theory of relativity by Albert Einstein. He talked about time and space and matter. So he discovered this. But if we see in Genesis 1:1, in the beginning, This is time. God created the heavens. The heavens is space. And the earth, that is matter. So way before Albert Einstein talked about his theory of relativity, God had existed way before then. Because if you believe in the book of Genesis, we believe that God had existed before the creation, before everything. God was already there. So he had existed way before. And in the beginning of that book, we see how he formed everything. He formed the light, the darkness, sun, moon, and stars, the sun and the sky, fish and birds, the land and plants, animals and human beings. And after he formed man on the sixth day, he rested. God took a rest. And then, now there is a problem with people saying, I heard a man say, all the Christians, billions of Christians worldwide, were all disobedient to God. They say the Sabbath day when God rested was Saturday, that it was the devil who let us all be coming to church on Sundays, that we're not supposed to come to church on Sundays. You know, Jesus, when the Pharisees said, why did Jesus heal that woman on the Sabbath? What did he say? Man was not made for the Sabbath. Sabbath was made for the man. So far you take a day of rest. So I don't see why people are so particular that it has to be this day or that day. Romans 14:5 is in your handout. One person considers one day more sacred than another. Another considers every day alike. Each of them should be fully convinced in their own mind. And what I've heard is that the reason why Christians choose Sunday is because that's the day Jesus arose from the dead. And that's why we now choose Sunday as our Sabbath. But either it's a Saturday or it's a Sunday, I don't think we should fight over it. You know, those people who take the Sabbath as a Saturday, I don't think they're more holy or more spiritual than those of us who consider Sunday as the day of the Lord. We come together, we worship God, we're not worshiping the devil. So in Genesis chapter 2, God planted a garden in Eden, and then he put the man that he created into the garden. So when he put Adam there, he put Adam there to work, not just to lounge about, not just to laze about, but to work. So we can see right from creation, God created man to work. So Adam was there, was taking care of the garden. And God told him, you can eat of all the trees in the garden, all the fruits you can eat, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. The day you eat it, you will surely die. So God's first commandment to man was, you can eat, but don't eat this. So he gave us that commandment freely. So Adam named all creation. It was his job. He looked at the dog, he said, I will call you dog. He looked at that, he said, I will call you cat. He looked at, I will call you elephant. He named all the creation that God made. And then God saw that he was alone. He said it's not good for man to be alone. All the animals had companions. They went off 2 by 2. But once Adam finished working, he was alone on his own. He would just sit there. He had no companion. So God made him fall asleep into a deep sleep, took a rib and created woman. So Adam opened his eyes and saw this beautiful creature standing before him and was like, whoa, she is so beautiful. I'm going to call her woman. So he named her woman, and that's how he got a wife. He said she's bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. So he had a companion. In chapter 3, the Bible says, the serpent was more cunning, more deceitful than all the creatures that God made. So he went to Eve and told Eve, has God said that you mustn't eat of that fruit? And Eve said, yes. God said we mustn't eat. We must not even touch it. We mustn't look at it. that if we do, we're going to die. The serpent said, you will not die. He knows that the day you eat it, you are going to become wise. You will be like him. He doesn't want you to be like him. That's why he said you shouldn't eat it. Nothing will happen to you. So Eve took out of it. She looked at it. She saw it was nice. She took it, ate, and she gave some to her husband who was with her, and he collected it and he ate. And in your handouts, you will see I put there verse 6, Genesis 3:6. When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. I've heard people preach and say Adam wasn't there, he was busy, he was doing work, he left Eve alone, she was lonely, and that's why she was able to talk to the serpent. And if a man abandons the wife and leaves her, then she gets into mischief. If Adam was there, Eve wouldn't have listened to the serpent, she wouldn't have been talking to him. But the Bible clearly says who was with her. So he was there. He was with her. It's there in the Bible, Genesis 3:6. You can check your Bible in case you think I added that into your handout. He was there, but he chose not to say anything. Only God knows why Adam decided to keep quiet. Maybe if he had spoken up, we won't be in this situation today, or it's all part of God's plan for redemption. But Adam did not say a word, and he also ate. And immediately they both ate, their eyes were opened, and they discovered they were naked, and they got some fig leaves, they sewed it together to cover their nakedness, and they hid when they heard the Lord walking around in the garden. So God asked, Adam, where are you? Adam says, we heard you coming, we were naked, so we hid. God says, who told you you were naked? Have you eaten of the fruit I told you not to eat? He said, yes, the woman you gave me. She gave me some and I ate it. And God said, Eve, why did you do this? The serpent deceived me, and I ate some. None of them decided to repent at that point, maybe to say we are sorry. They were blaming each other. God looked at the snake and he cursed the snake. He cursed the serpent. He said, from today, you're going to be creeping on your belly and eating dust. So we think what people are saying is that before that curse, the serpent used to walk upright. He had legs, so he walked upright. But after the curse, he started creeping on the floor. I don't know. And some people said that they discovered that these snakes actually had legs. They've seen it, like the legs are now inside. So it does seem that it used to walk upright. But because of the curse, it started creeping on the ground. And God also cursed the devil that entered into the serpent, that is going to cause enmity between the seed of the woman and him. He will bruise the man, the seed's ankle, but the offspring of the woman is going to crush his head. When I was a child in church, I was very young, I heard a pastor preaching about this, and he said that that's why man and snake hate each other. So when a man sees a snake, he runs and wants to kill it because of this curse. And all my years, I thought it meant a physical snake and human beings. It was later when I started reading the Bible, and we saw that the seed of the woman that God was talking about is Jesus Christ and the devil. So that is the seed of the woman. It's not a physical snake. But that's how that pastor preached it, that it's a snake. So anytime I see a snake, I say, that when I'm running, I'll say, that's why God said. I didn't know that it meant Jesus, the seed of the woman. And we can see that happened at Calvary, when Jesus Christ conquered death. So that was the curse for the serpent and for the devil. And God said the woman, because she deceived Adam, she took and ate, she will have pains when she wants to have a baby. And all the moms here, we know how it is when you're having the baby. It's not easy. There is a lot of pain, and that is as a result of the curse. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, the moms who haven't had babies, don't worry, it's not that painful. Yeah, so they go through that pain in labor. And he cursed Adam. He said that he cursed the ground and said, it's going to be very, very difficult now. You will suffer and sweat before the ground will yield the fruit. And since you came from earth, you will go back to the dust. So when God finished, Adam now changed the wife's name from woman to Eve. So that's the first time he now called her Eve, that because she's the mother of all the living. And then God made garments from the skin of animal and covered them. Because remember, they had the fig leaves. So he now covered them. And then he said, now man knows evil and good. So in case they go and stretch forth their hands to eat the tree from the tree of life, they have to banish them from the Garden of Eden. So God now banished man, Adam and Eve, from the Garden of Eden. And there was a sword that was guarding Eden, so they won't be able to come back. So we can see just from just 2 chapters, everything was destroyed by the devil, who just didn't want that relationship between man and God. So it started off in God was having fellowship with man, and to God now casting man out of the Garden of Eden. And Adam and Eve had a boy, a baby boy, Cain. So God gave them a son. And after they had Cain, they had another baby boy, Abel. So Cain was like a gardener, a farmer, and Abel was a hunter. So they both brought offering to the Lord. Cain brought his offering of his harvest, his fruit, and Abel brought the best of his animal to the Lord. And the Lord accepted Abel's offering, did not accept the offering of Cain. So Cain was sad, he was downcast, he wasn't pleased. And God told Cain, why are you upset? If you gave me something good, would I not have accepted it? Instead of you to be downcast, why don't you just, maybe bring something else? Or you have to be careful, because sin is crouching at the door, ready to consume you. So you cannot be upset. But Cain did not listen to the voice of God. He invited his brother Abel. He deceived Abel. Abel, come, let's go to the field. They're brothers, and Cain is the big brother. Let's go to the field. Abel followed him. And when they got to the field, Cain killed him and hid the body. Then God asked Cain, where is your brother Abel? Cain said, how should I know? Am I my brother's keeper? Why are you asking me? And God said, what is this that you have done? The blood of your brother is crying from the ground because of what you did. So because of that, I am now going to make you a wanderer upon the face of the earth. And Cain said, this punishment is greater, it's more than what I can bear. If anybody sees me, they will want to kill me. But God, being merciful, he put a mark upon Cain and said, nobody will kill you. Anyone who kills you, their punishment will be greater than what you have done. So that was how Cain left the presence of the Lord. And he met someone, he got married, and he had his son called Enoch. And God blessed Eve with another son called Seth. And from then onwards, people began to call upon the name of the Lord. And they started praying to God, because by this time there is that distance between God and man. So God saw that there was a lot of wickedness on the earth, and he regretted making man. He said he doesn't know what to do. People were just doing evil continually. There was just wickedness, evil in man's heart, which is still prevalent even today. So he said he's going to destroy the whole creation that he had made and start afresh, because he now regrets making man upon the face of the earth. But then he discovered that Noah was a righteous man among everyone. He said, okay, he wanted to start with Adam, that failed. He said, right, now he will start with Noah. So he got Noah to build an ark. And he said, Noah and his family. So Noah and the 3 sons, their wives and his wife. So 8 people in the whole world should enter the ark. So Pastor sent me that, so when Pastor sent me a clip on WhatsApp, an ark that they built in somewhere in Atlanta. And the exact measurements that God gave Noah. So when I saw it, I said, the pastor Noah was going to teach Genesis that you said just 2 days ago. I was looking at it. I went on the internet and I saw it. The exact measurement that God gave Noah. They built that ark in America. So people are going in to go and have a look at it, to see this is the ark that saved 8 people. So they entered it, and then the flood started. God shut the ark himself, so no one could come in and no one could go out. And it rains heavily for 40 days, and then it stopped, but it still took up to 150 days for the waters to recede and get off the earth. So after all the waters had drained, they all came out, and the first thing Noah did was to build an altar and offer sacrifice to God. And when God smelled the aroma of the sacrifice, he said, never again is he going to curse the ground because of man. He won't do it. He said, as long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night will never cease. So God blessed Noah and his family and told them to be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. So God did not want man to just stay in one place. He wanted them to replenish the whole earth. So, and then this time around, he now told them that everything is now theirs for food. Because when God initially created man in the garden, Adam and Eve, he only gave us herbs. So we were supposed to be vegetarians. Just herbs, he told Adam, that will be for food. But after the flood, he now said you can eat herbs and the animals. They're all now for food. So that was how man was now became meat and chicken eaters. We're supposed to just be eating salad and beans. So Noah now, he planted grapes, he had a vineyard, and he made wine from that vineyard. And he drank and he became drunk. And when he became drunk, he was naked inside the tent. And his son Ham saw the nakedness of his father. So he went out and told the brothers that he was mocking his dad's nakedness. He should come and see the nakedness of the dad. So when the brothers heard, they took a cloth and walked backwards. They didn't look at their dad's nakedness. They walked backwards and covered him. So when Noah woke up and heard what his son Ham had done, he cursed Canaan. Canaan is Ham's son. So he didn't curse Ham, but he cursed Canaan. And I was thinking, that's a bit harsh. Ham is the one who created the offense, but he cursed Ham's son, Canaan, and said Canaan is going to be a servant to all his brothers. So he really cursed him. And then that was how sin entered the game. God was trying to wipe it out and start afresh, but it happened again. New families began all over the place, and then man said, because they had one language, he said, let's build for ourselves a tower that will reach heaven, so we can make a name for ourselves. So they started building this tower. They were building it and building it. It was getting high because they had one mind, they had one language. And God came down. He saw what they were building and he said, because they have one purpose for this and one language, this that they have purpose to do, they will do it. They will do it. So he said, let's go and confuse their language. So that was how God confused the language. So they had to stop building the tower because they couldn't understand each other anymore. This one will say a language and say, give me the hammer. He will bring the saw because he doesn't understand. So those who understood each other started drifting off together in groups. And because God said, go and populate the earth, and they were all gathered in one place, they all now by force had to start going off. So this story of the Tower of Babel, it shows us what we can do if we are all of one mind, if there is unity. Instead of Christians, churches attacking other churches, if all Christians came together, one mind, one voice, and we prayed, do you know what we can do with that? How we can shake heaven. I was looking on YouTube, listening to this man preach. He preached for 1 hour in this church. The whole 1 hour, he spent it attacking another pastor. The whole 1 hour. He was listening all what that pastor was preaching. That he said this, and he said this, and the church, all of them sat there, and they were laughing, and they were happy, and I was watching, and I was thinking, okay, when are you going to start preaching now? When are you going to start preaching? The whole 1 hour, he used it to attack another pastor. So when I was reading about the Tower of Babel, I said because these people had one language, they had one mind, God said they can do this. So instead of us attacking each other, that this church is doing this or this church is doing it, all Christians come together, and with one mind, one unity, we pray together. Even in the church, prayer of agreement is very powerful. We all come together, one mind, we pray to God, and we say, this is what we want. God will answer. Instead of in-house fighting, backbiting, inside the church, things going on, Christians not talking to each other inside the church, and the devil is happy because that's what he wants. He wants to create division among God's people. Because once a Christian kneels down, the devil is always afraid. So we're going to stop here, chapter 11, and the next time we will continue from chapter 12, because it's a really big book. I don't want to do it all in 30 minutes because you'll be rushed. So God bless you all. Thanks for listening.
Amen.
Thank you.
Hallelujah.